Welcome back to WagerTalk.com. I'm Marco D'Angelo, joined in studio by Scott Spreitzer and Brian Leonard, and we're going to preview Oregon, Michigan State. Big game, early season. Got Pac-12, Big Ten. These two met last year, guys. Oregon, if you look at the final score, looked like Oregon ran all over them, but it was a tight game in the third quarter, and actually Michigan State had the lead. What do you guys think?
Yeah, Michigan State looked good in the first half, and the thing you had to look at, it was 100 degrees last year in that game, and they're playing a fast offense like Oregon, and so as the game went on, obviously they tired out a little bit. But interesting fact, I heard this, read this in Phil Steele's newsletter. This is the first time two teams in the top 10 have played at Spartan Stadium since 1966, and if I remember correctly, that was the last time Marco had hair.
Oh, nice.
Don't you hate guys with hair?
Do you know many? There's not many of us anymore.
Yeah, okay. Scott would come to my defense on that one.
In a heartbeat.
Yeah. What do you think, Scott?
I think he's full of it.
Well, we already know that. No, so do our listeners.
I got to tell you, when I looked at go back to last year's game, first of all, Oregon and Michigan State up in Eugene, and really for all but about 52 minutes of game time, it's a pretty nip and tuck game. It was like the last few minutes of the third quarter, first few minutes of the fourth quarter where Oregon had a little bust out and they were able to separate themselves from the Spartans. I looked at last week's games two ways about how to grade these teams. Look at Michigan State. I saw people on Twitter saying, man, I had right side, wrong result, those who laid it with Michigan State. You could kind of argue that. I wrote down some notes. Here's what Michigan State did to Western Michigan, their offense. 4 plays, 6 yards, 3 plays, 3 yards, 3 plays, 6 yards, 7 plays, 25 yards, 3 plays, 0 yards. The score was 27-7. The only reason they had 7 to the Broncos was because of a touchdown return, a kickoff return for a touchdown. But also, I thought if you had Western Michigan, one of the things you probably capped was that Michigan State might dial it down a bit, which they did up 34-10 because of this particular game. What do we do with Oregon? Vernon Adams gets, this offense 731 yards. Was it partially because he had been practicing against Eastern Washington's defense for the past couple of years because that's where he played before transferring? Or is this offense going to be that strong again? So I think there's a lot of question marks with this game.
Well, I agree exactly with what you hit the nail on the head with Michigan State. Not only dialing it down, but flip the script to the other team. Western Michigan, they were playing Big Brother. They're playing one of the big teams of the state I think they played on Friday night last week. So you got, not your normal game, your normal day. It's a night game. It's the home opener. That was a big game for them. So they're sky high, and you got a Michigan State team that just wanted to get in and get out. I agree with you. I look at Oregon and people are going to say, well, they put up, all those points last week. 61 points, yeah, but they gave up 42. And what concerned me was the Oregon defense. They gave up a ton of yards passing. Well, we know that when you're going to play Oregon, you're going to have to pass the football to stay with them. But still, for Eastern Washington to put up that kind of numbers against them, I think Connor Cook's going to have a great game against them, and I like the revenge motive.
I played Michigan State in the games of the years. I think I laid 1.5. I thought it was pretty cheap. But you take a look at Oregon, I think they're 7-1 straight up and against the spread on the road against a top 10 team. And the team they played last week, that's a pretty good Division II school. I mean, they've been very good the last few years. And talk about the little brother and whatever, that was a big game for them. In Western Michigan, as you pointed out, they're a very good team. They could be the class. I have them in the top 4. All of them pretty much equal in the MAC. So, and that was a big game. It's the first time Michigan State has ever played there.
Really thought that if they would have really wanted to keep the pedal to the metal, talking about the Spartans, they win that game easily going away. It was 34-10 when they really let off the gas a little bit. Real quickly, I wanted to mention to keep a close eye on Vernon Adams as we get closer to game time because he was removed from that game against Eastern Washington late in the game. He was hitting the noggin pretty hard. And I think they were going through concussion protocol. Don't quote me on that, but I think that's what I heard, is that they were going through concussion protocol after the game. So he's expected to play as we cut this video, but keep a close eye on it to see if he's going to. They got a pretty good guy who can fill in if Vernon Adams is out, but it's just something to pay attention to.
All right. If we have to put a gun to your head on this one,
I think Michigan State's going to win, but I wouldn't lay more than the 4. If you can get 3.5, I'd probably play Michigan State.
I'm going to lean with the favorite at 4 or less.
All right, we're going to make it unanimous. I got Michigan State also. Don't forget, guys, we've got a special offer this week at Wager Talk. It's the opening week of the NFL. You can get college and pro football all the way through the Super Bowl. If you use a coupon, we'll save you $200. Last call, $200. All one word, last call, $200. Enter that at checkout. You'll get $200 off your favorite capper. for the entire season. That's every play, all of the 5% plays right through the Super Bowl. Check it out at wagertalk.com, and be sure to head over to wagertalk.com to check out the rest of this weekend's videos.